again, our conversation with Ernest Jones coming up at 5 o'clock. Really good conversation with him today. So if you're a Seahawks fan, I definitely recommend taking that one in. But we did get out there and watched a bit of day one, Dave, and I'm curious, I hit you up as soon as I got here, like, what stood out to you? What are you seeing out there? I mean, it's hard to tell. Again, no hitting. They're not tackling. It's kind of like when we were here for mini camp and OTAs, that kind of thing. But once again, I got to say, the one thing that stood out to me is Drew Lock makes some great passes, man. I'm not saying he should be the starter or anything like that, but when we were here before, it was the same story. We're all watching Darnold. We're all wondering what he's going to look like, but the guy that stood out between the three, Jalen Milroe being the third, Drew Lock, he's got an arm. He is very athletic. And he makes some really nice throws.
Yeah, and I have to say that, people were kind of freaking out about the OTAs and he threw an interception, Sam Darnold that is, and whatever. Interesting thing I heard today about Drew Lock, and this is something we've been talking about a lot this year, is the coaching this offseason and how big of a difference. And I think what I've found, and I think people are going to start to realize, is that it's really important. It's really important. So the story was that Drew Lock had never really worked on his footwork. And again, they have a new quarterback coach, Andrew Janocko, and, they have him working on that kind of stuff. But every once in a while you come across a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator, like, I don't care where your feet are, man. Just make the throw. And I guess it's really helped Drew Lock, that kind of coaching, So I just think it's interesting. The other thing is, if you were to ask me about Sam Darnold, what do I see so far? I would say maybe he's being a little bit too careful. He doesn't want to throw interceptions. So a lot of times, and I saw him today twice pull it down and just run out of bounds, and then another time just chuck it away. And it
seems like he's back there for a while at times, like, he's looking, he's patting the ball, he's looking like...
He seems indecisive a little bit.
You better get rid of that thing, man.
Yeah, but this isn't, look, this is day one.
Right.
And we did see a little bit of that in OTAs, and if I had to put my money down, it's going to be Darnold. But it's just nice to see Drew Lock look good, but I think it's just kind of a curiosity. And the fact that he hasn't had anybody come and really work on his footwork is kind of interesting, like the entire time that he's a pro. I have to say this. There's more of that than you think, because when I came into the NFL, there was one time Tom Catlin was all about scheme, and he would put a defense in, and at the end he's like, save your questions to the very end. And one of my shining moments in the NFL was I actually asked him a question about a defense, and he was like, that's a good question. No, we need to do this, that, and the other, because he always explained everything perfectly.
Did you write it on the grease board? Wyman won.
Yeah, that's right. But we had chalkboards back then, Bob. They didn't even have grease boards. But yeah, but one time Tom came up to me, and he played NFL linebacker, back in the 50s and 60s. He's like, here, I want you to drop your hips in your stance, and I want you to stay there. It was just the right amount of words. Mm-hmm. And then I came up, I blew up the guard and got off and made a tackle. And he's like, did you feel that? And I'm like, yes, I did. And I wished I'd gotten more of that. So I think that there are some coaching staffs that really work on the technique and all the little tools that make you a successful player. And, and every once in a while you just get guys that are like all scheme. This is what we're running. Let's just run plays. But, they used to say the who to get and how to get them. And the how to get them part is sometimes left to the side. So I think it's interesting that Drew Lock's been in Denver and he's been here. And I know when he came out of Missouri, it wasn't
New York.
Yeah, exactly. And, that now all of a sudden he's looking really good, and that he runs into a coach that finally is, talking about the little details that go into making you successful.
Here's the one thing I would say in that, and how he looked good to us before in the OTAs and looked good here.
Yeah.
Day one, is we've seen guys who look brilliant in practice. Yeah. Then you get in a game and it's a different story. And I've seen the reverse, because I'm telling you, when Russ was here and you'd see the reps that Geno got, and even the early reps when Geno was the starter, when I watched him at practice, I saw him throw some horrible balls. And I'm just like, oh, boy, this does not look good. He gets in the game. He's ding, 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 ding. Yeah. He's 70%. He looked great. So point being, whether somebody looks really good in practice or maybe they don't shine in practice, it doesn't mean that's how it's going to translate on game day.
Totally agree. And I just think that the interesting thing about that was the coaching part of it, and that, maybe that will make him a better player, but I still think he's going to be your backup quarterback. But yeah, it just kind of brings into focus how coaching can help so much, and I think it's underestimated around the league. So, yeah.
One other little thing that gave me a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
Is I saw Abe Lucas out there, then I saw him on the sideline. He's not even wearing a knee sleeve, much less a knee brace.
Yeah, it was interesting what John Boyle told us yesterday. Because I think the way Pete put it in words was kind of like, we're
going to have to manage it.
Yeah, basically, he kind of made it sound like it was chronic and it was like a long-term deal, whereas now I guess he got his knee fixed and he's fine. And you never know when a guy's suffering from that. You'll find that out in the Ernest Jones interview. But I thought that was interesting. Some of the other things I saw, was it Moyer that was talking about K9? Somebody was talking about K9 and how like his lower half, and he looks like, remember when Ken Zone came into camp a couple of years ago for the Mariners, and like, wow, look at his legs. And I saw him just burst through that run he ran. Oh,
he looked quick.
Gosh.
He looked very quick.
He looks fast, and it's kind of interesting how they install their run game, because number one, I love watching the offensive line. They're making these guys like sprint to the sidelines basically. And I watched Bradford a couple of times, and he looks much better as far as his body composition and everything. But yeah, you look at that run game. The other thing is, there's a lot of times where there's a free runner on this defense. And, we talked to John Gruden the other day about how this defense disguises a lot, and you don't know which one is rushing. And there was like 3 or 4 times where there was a defensive player in the backfield unblocked. And, that's not good for the offense, but I think it's also indicative of what Mike McDonald's defense does and how they get sacks and how they get a guy that's just unblocked in the backfield. So, yeah, that was that few of the things that stood out. Obviously, they're not going full speed. The other thing, their install on their offense, as far as the runs go, they kind of like jog through it. They have like a whole period of time, 10 to 15 minutes, where they're running these run plays and they're just kind of jogging through, and then they hit it and do the full speed. Yeah. So, and this was something last year. They were on the field 40 more hours after training camp was over, I think it was. Yeah. Longer than when Pete was here. Yeah. And it's different styles of coaching, but like a lot of guys, you learn by doing it. And, we used to like put it up on the board, then go walk through it, and then you play it out, full speed on defense. That's how you install a defense. And, but they're doing so much stuff that's on the field. And I think that really appeals to most football players. Like, instead of seeing it on film and like, oh, I need to go there instead of there, they go back and walk through it and show, like, on the field, what does it look like? So, yeah, I think I'm fired up about the coaching, and and talked about that when we did our 5 reasons the Seahawks should go to the playoffs. And I talked about the offense getting a fast start, and I think that's kind of what you're seeing happen.
Seattle Seahawks preseason home opener is August 7th. Can you believe that? Today is the 23rd.
Wow.
So, yeah, what is that, 8 and 7? Does that still add up to 15?
Yes, it does. Yeah. And really, you look at the last preseason game is 1 month from today.